like it does. Oh, yes, it does. Oh, yes, it does. And if somebody loved me like you do me, oh, yes, it do me. Oh, yes, it do. Don't let me down.
Oops.
Don't let me down. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. I'm in love for the first time. Don't you know it's gonna last? If this love lasts forever, if this love will last so bad, don't let me down. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. And from the first time that he really done me, oh yes he done me, he done me good. I guess nobody ever really done me till he done me, he done me good. Don't let me down. 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 Don't let me bye bye love, bye bye happiness, hello loneliness. I think I'm gonna die. Bye love, goodbye.
Hello, everybody. I'll be waiting a couple of minutes to let some more people in. Hopefully, you can hear me clearly. So if you can hear me, either give me a thumbs up or send a. Okay, cool. Thank you.
The stars above, and there's no reason
And my moderator shared some of the information from the resources. You can also find it on Sketch on the actual description of the session. It's down at the bottom. You can click on it. But if not, you can just find it there, bit.ly/rgoostech004. You can also see it on the screen. You can see the screen, right? Better communication with Google Tools. Okay, awesome. Thank you. Who's that? I was looking at. I can't see the name there, but. All right, so I'm going to turn my music off over here. Sorry, it's a tradition that I have. I always listen to some like 60s reggae, ska to relax me for some reason. Since high school, it's just something that I listen to. Um, but thank you very much. I know this is the last session today of the IE Google Camp, RCOE and Menifee Google Camp. I've participated since the first one, different sessions throughout the years, and hopefully you're wearing a Hawaiian shirt. I wore it because I know they started doing this the second year, I believe. Just, last day of the sessions, wear the Hawaiian shirt a little bit more relaxed. Okay, so Hopefully everybody's having a great day. What do you like to do to relax, actually? If you like to share in the chat, go ahead and share with us what you do to relax. And I'll be sharing a little bit. Somebody said read. Anything specific, Michelle? What kind of music, Andrea? Swim. Ooh, Kristen. Nice. Surf. All right. Thank you, Christine. Murder mysteries. All right. Walk. Yeah, I start my days with a walk now, actually. As one of my pandemic things that I start pandemic habits was starting my day with a walk. Enjoying the pool. Nice. Thank you, Sonia. Think TV. Ah, okay. 70s singer songwriters. Nice. Garden and do art. Awesome. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, Andrea. All right. So I just wanted to share a little bit, have people share, work out. Awesome. Any specific workouts? Off-C. Hopefully I've pronounced that correctly, Off-C. Okay. So I'm going to get started. And I apologize if I'm a little bit all over the place. I had a little bit too much caffeine at lunchtime. I did a cold brew thing that I did at home, and it's got me wired. I'm not used to the caffeine so early, well, excuse me, in the afternoon. I'm usually just drinking a cup of coffee in the morning and that's it. And if you've seen me talk before, I kind of go all over the place, and that's why I have my slides here, because it kind of keeps me where I need to be. All right, so better communication with Google Tools. My name is Robert Guzman. I'll talk a little bit more about me, but the reason why I have this picture up here is this is the New Zealand All Blacks, one of the greatest sports teams in the world. They have one of the best winningest percentages, and they always work together. And as you can see here, this is ex-player Richie McCaw passing the ball to a couple of the other guys. You can see my boy there, Sonny Bill Williams, one of the best offloading passers in rugby history. Amazing. I recognize him from his tattoo and his muscular body. Brody Retallick in the background, a couple other guys there. But the reason why I have this is because these guys are amazing. When you see them work, they communicate very well, and that's what makes them very successful. And the tools that I use to communicate to my staff is Google Docs and Google Slides. All right, so a little bit about me. As you can see, there's a couple of pictures up there. There's me up there on the top left-hand side, me in New Orleans at the World War II Museum about a month ago. I was fortunate to go visit that. Pretty awesome. If you get the chance, check it out. There's me and the amazing crew I've been a part of with Joe Williams, Jed Butler, Jonathan Sennett, Dee Trilly, and Tom Ashley. That was a picture we took last May before our break. Just some food pictures as well. And I got to move my chat over here so I can talk about the top right-hand side is a picture of Big Chief Monk Boudreaux of the New Orleans, one of the New Orleans Mardi Gras Indians. I was fortunate to see them back in June as well. That's a picture of me down there at the Rugby Sevens last year, actually, before the pandemic hit. And again, more pictures of food. But again, my name is Robert Guzman. I work at the California Military Institute. That is a public charter school in the Paris Union High School District. There's my Twitter handle. Reach out to me, follow me. I'll follow you back. I'll share resources, and you'll realize that it's very important, which what I'm going to talk about today. So I'm going to move on. I'm going to try to keep track of what's going on with the chat here. And thank you. Oh, and by the way, the lames thing, no lames. This is something funny that I follow. It's something I picked up. I don't want to really talk too much about it, but it's just some social media stuff that's out there. And I find this really funny. So let's talk about this here. All right. So tools. I promised I'd talk to you guys about two tools, being Google Docs, using them as HyperDocs, and also Google Slides. And technically, those will also be used as HyperDocs. And then I got to mention Twitter because I do use Twitter a lot. There's a lot of cool stuff, and I'll talk about it in my slides. So the three main things I'll talk about today is Twitter, Google Docs, and Slides, and how I use it with my staff to pass on information and to try to keep everybody in the loop. All All right, so if you don't know about HyperDocs, uh, they're just a basic Google document or Google slide where you can just put a bunch of links on there and people can just click on them, redirect them to other resources. So they're like super jam-packed with information, and you can modify them any way you want. But I picked this up a long time ago when I went to a Rockstar Q session with Lisa Highfield, who is like one of the people that pioneered this whole HyperDoc movement. I have a link there down at the bottom if you want to click on that. On the presentation, it'll take you directly to her site, learn a little bit more about the HyperDocs. You want to become an expert, by all means, go ahead and check out their awesome resources. There's videos that'll teach you all sorts of things on there. And my presentations has a bunch of these things on there, so just look out for those links. But I can't read this, so I got to move this over here. So the HyperDoc serves as a content-packed go-between for the teacher and the student. And it's not just about students, it's about colleagues, schools, parents. HyperDocs are a great way to share information and condense everything to smaller packages. All right, so let me talk briefly about Twitter. If you haven't been using Twitter, it's kind of gotten a bad rep the last couple of years because of non-educational purposes, but for educational purposes, it is amazing. I've been using it for a long time. Make sure you create a Twitter account. It'll take you directly to Twitter there. TweetDeck, that's something that I use. TweetDeck is a add-on that you can add on the Chrome browser. It's like Twitter on steroids. It'll give you different feeds of different things that you can look at. Oops, sorry about that. Got a little too excited there. And then if you want to look at specific topics or certain areas of education, I would strongly encourage that you follow some sort of educational chat. It helped me a lot when I first started out as a tech coach. You get access to experts. That's actually one of the ways where I was able to meet Sue Tots and a couple of other people with some of these educational chats that I partook in. So follow certain hashtags, that'll help you out as well. And when I say lurk, you don't technically have to create an account, but if you can, just go look at different Twitter handles, different hashtags. They'll share with you information for free. And that's where I bring up two of my positives there, where Twitter will help you make more educational friends to increase your professional learning network. And it'll help you collaborate outside of your site, okay? Because sometimes we get just focused on what's going on our site, and we need to expand because there's a lot of people out there that are doing amazing things like we are, and they're going to share them with us, and vice versa. We might be doing amazing things, and we want to share to the rest of the people that are out there because that's what it's about. We want to make each other better. Okay, so, and I mentioned this before, you get free resources from the experts. There's, like I said, different people you can follow. Some of my favorites are this guy named Eric Kurtz out of Ohio. I mentioned Sue Tots with Common Sense. There's a couple other ones that are there, but really amazing stuff. So that's why I use Twitter, and I strongly encourage that you use Twitter. And again, you could just use it 2 minutes a day, go look at some things, just take what you need, use it. If not, just, expand your knowledge on different areas. Okay, and again, people are willing to help you. They'll answer questions if you haven't used it before. If you have, you know what I'm talking about, all these free resources out there. All right, so HyperDoc, Google Doc, and the Google Slides I talk about. My goal is to unify my campus, unify people in the district by sharing information. And so this is my goal. Just like the New Zealand All Blacks, they're always unified in what they're doing. It is one of those things. Unity is very, very good for an organization. Everybody has a voice. Everybody's voice has to be respected, but everybody needs to have the same information. Everybody needs to be passed on the same information so that we're on the same page. Okay, and sometimes information gets lost on campuses. It's not 100% perfect, but information does flow and people do get it because our goal is to be very efficient at what we do. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of slow down here because I think I'm going really, really fast. So this is an example of my technology newsletter. I took 2 screenshots. This is one screenshot here. This is another screenshot over here. As you can see, it says volume 97. This is from back in May. If you click on the presentation, it'll take you directly to all my technology newsletters, or actually the most current one I have there. And all this is, again, this is just a Google Doc. Oops. And I have information there. You know, there's a parent resources that I share with my staff. There's our school social media, our school logo pictures. It tells you a little bit of information about me, so they remember. Information about Chromebook switches going on in the library, because at the Paris Union High School District, we are a one-to-one district, and we've been one-to-one for about 7 years, if I'm not mistaken. It's all part of our Scholar Plus initiative that Mr. Joe Williams got started in our district about a couple of years ago. So you can see, you know, information about the help desk, calling, you know, sending an email, especially during this distance learning or online learning. We had to get all this stuff out there to people to remind people of what they could do, where to get information. Thank you, Debbie, giving a shout out there. Oops. And so, you know, as you can see, there's just different things that I put on here. You know, tech tools, how to resources by Portia Marcia. I don't remember exactly what that was, but I found something really amazing there. Creating empathy maps for your students, a bunch of other things that are up there. It changes on a weekly basis. Okay, and again, all this is just a simple Google Doc that I converted to something that looked like a newspaper in a way. Okay, and as you can see here, how did I do it? Well, I just pretty much just put in a header. You know, go to tools, find it, add a header, and I just add tables, just simple tables. And as you can see over here, the different tables have a different resource in each one of them. I put a title. I usually bold the titles in size 14 font, and I hyperlink some of the resources so you can see here. Let me move this down here, sorry. And then, you know, just give a brief description as what it is to kind of capture my audience's attention. And there's different things, like in this one, you can see that I had bouncing balls, making gifts, edu protocols, math manipulatives, basics of Google Forms, digital templates for current events. It changes, it's on a rotating basis. So the basics of Google Form, I'll talk about that real quick, because sometimes what I do is I'll go to Google, use some of the resources that they have there, and I do a series of events. So I start off with the basics, then I go with intermediates, and then I go with advanced. And I do these about every 2 weeks. So in about 2 weeks, I go from the basics to the intermediate. And again, 2 weeks after that, I have another section on the advanced. I did it with Gmail this last semester as well, trying to remind people of different things that we can do with Gmail, keeping people up to date with the information. So it's a very simple thing that I do. Oops, my mouse gets a little click happy there. But a little bit more about the background. All it is I have a 2-step process. The first thing I do is I have a document where I put all my notes. So when I go to Twitter, I'll click on the resource, grab the resource, drop it in this document, and then give a brief description as to what it was. And then when I'm actually creating it, step number 2, when I'm actually creating my newsletter, I just use a Google Doc. I insert all those links, make it into a hyperdoc, you know, with all my tables and all that. And I use the previous tech newsletter. You know, I make a copy of it, delete all the stuff that's in there, and just start adding all my new things on there. And that's pretty much it. So again, it's just a 2-step process, taking the notes and then actually creating the newsletter. And maybe 3, because I'm actually gathering resources from Twitter and sometimes emails, things that go out, or things that I need to make sure that staff knows that are important to them, especially like every 6 weeks we have our grading period. So I'll have updates on, you know, a refresher on how to post grades in our grading system, which is what we use, Infinite Campus and things like that. So I'll remind people how to post grades, how to insert comments. So it's constantly if you know, there's some similar things. There's a pattern to some of the things I put on there. Okay. So I'm not going to go too much into this, but the resources there, there's a template for you. Just like the one I have, it's empty. It's just a bunch of tables. You can also access all my published newsletters down here. Should all be accessible. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but I want to make sure that you guys know that the presentation, all these resources are clickable. So I want to ask you, because like I said, I've been talking a lot and I'm trying to get some ideas. So if you could answer in the chat, any ideas of how you might use this for your classroom, your school, your district, maybe a department? Let's go ahead and share them here in the chat. Let's take about 30 seconds and see if any ideas of how you could use something like this Google Doc with hyperlinks to help you out and share information. So let's take 30 seconds. Put my timer on here, 30 seconds. Ooh, a parent newsletter, awesome. Great idea, Andrea. Thank you, Vicky, same thing, awesome. Celebrating student success, that's right, Joe. Yeah, there you go, Karen, using hyperlinks in the classroom website. Great to get information to departments, yeah. Or if you have a large sub-department meet, yeah. Freshman groups, oh yeah. Awesome. Pet of the week, meow, oops. Sorry about that, I hope I didn't scare anybody, but I have to put the timer on, otherwise I'll keep going. Communicating with parents, absolutely. Resource board for grade level links, awesome. There was one last year when I did a session similar to this. Somebody used this for their SPED department in their district. They had all these things and they shared all these resources for their SPED department, and they were going to share it once a month. So that was another thing I just want to make sure I shared there. District communicating to school principals, awesome. Ooh, that is a good idea, right, Debbie? Cool. So I'm glad these ideas are flowing. And again, this is just to get the information out there, just generate ideas for you, because our goal is to, you know, get better at what we do. Again, my mouse is getting click happy there. All right, so let's transition now. I told you guys I'd talk about two things, right? So that was my HyperDoc, getting information out to everybody. Again, I do it on a 2-week, a bi-monthly. So every 2 weeks, I kind of create one of those. And I want to talk to you guys how we can use a published Google slide deck. And if you're not familiar, that's the New Zealand All Blacks doing their famous haka dance. That's a Maori war dance. The All Blacks do that before all their matches. And in fact, they play Fiji tonight in Waikato in Hamilton, New Zealand. But this gives me the opportunity to transition. So let's talk about the Google slide deck. So the reason I created a published Google slide deck was that I don't want to say irritated, but I kind of got annoyed on a lot of the work emails that we get. We get way too many, right? Reading them becomes a task in itself, wasting time we could have worked on other things. We have to search for information, right? And so with this distance learning, I started thinking about staff and how sometimes you might just need a reminder about certain things that are going on at the school site. And so I said, what could be a way that we can share information on a weekly basis to just remind people of what's going on, or different things that we need to do at the school site, or even just our LCAP goals, you know, simple things like that, just to keep them fresh on our mind. And so with that, I figured I'd create a published Google slide deck that I would send out every Monday morning to my staff. And there's an example of one right here. If you click on the actual presentation, I'm going to play a short video in just a moment to show you how the Google slide deck works, the published Google slide deck, and what I sent out to my staff. If you clicked on the resource that I had on the Sketch, it's a published Google slide deck. It's kind of just like a newsreel, right? And the idea came to me from ESPN's ticker, just that idea of a ticker, just information that just scrolls through. But let me show you this quick video of what it looks like. So if you haven't seen that, let me click this video right here. And this is from the last week of school at the California Military Institute. So let me play that for us. And so that's how it starts off. That's my first slide. That was our initiative, was finish strong. There's a reminder of what the bell schedule was going to be like. And again, this is for staff, just reminding everybody when the last day of school was. First day of school is August 4th. You know, teachers, your grades are due by this day. Survey for WASP positions, reminders of our social media. But that was just some of the stuff. It was a short video that I wanted to show you as what it looks like. Because you can send out Google Slides and they're going to look like this when people are clicking on them. And then, you know, they can navigate to wherever they want. But I prefer in the published version. I think that that's a little bit better because it captures your attention. You focus on that. And again, I started doing this every Monday, and I would let people know that I would be modifying it throughout the week so that they could see things added on there. It wasn't the same thing. And that's the other thing is I don't have to send out the link. It's the same link every week that I send out to my staff. I just keep changing the slides and all they see is the newest version. And again, I started doing this with my staff and then I figured, why not send this out to the students? So I made a student version as well. And so the students started getting one that had different information, but some of the same information as well. And as I kept going through this, there was even students that would email me and say, hey, Mr. Guzman, can we add an announcement? You know, being a military school at CMI, sometimes there's specific announcements that need to go out to the students. And so the kids would actually send me a graphic and I would just throw it on the cadet newsletter or newswire. And so the kids started participating on this. And so information would get out there. Yeah, they're your number one resource if you haven't figured that out, Jessica. I've been saying it, you know, I've been in education for 17 years. 9 of those I did as an online teacher, by the way. So I was prepared for this whole online learning. But I realized even in online learning that my students were my number one resource because they have a lot of time. There's a lot more of them than us. And so the idea is to get them involved because they will help you out. And my goal for next year, for this next coming school year, is to have students run that newswire, not me. I want them to run it so I don't have to worry about it. I'll still have to look at it before we send it out. So, but it's, again, it's just a way to send information out that keeps everybody on the same page. Because sometimes, you know, we post things here, we post things there, and we forget. Okay, so I'm going to go very briefly, but this is there for you in the presentation. All you really need to do on any Google slide presentation to make it a published slide deck, excuse me, a published Google slide is you just go to File on the top left-hand side. You select Publish to the Web, which is this button down there at the bottom. It'll show you. Oh, sorry about that. And then you just grab the link and you send it out to them. In my emails, when I send this out to them, I just said, good morning, blah, blah, blah. Here is your CMI Newswire. And I just hyperlink it on the CMI Newswire. So they just click on where it says CMI Newswire. And very importantly, the last thing, nota bene, don't forget, make sure if you're going to send something out to your staff or to a specific group, that you change the sharing settings on your document. That's very important. So for me, the students only get to see the student one, where teachers just get to see the teacher one. So I manage that, because even if I make the mistake of sharing the wrong link to the wrong group, the teachers only get to view the teacher newswire, and the students only get to see the student newswire. And then nobody outside of our organization gets to actually view it. So that's another thing. We respect privacy as well. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Just remember your sharing settings on the document, who you want to view. Yeah, that's right, Karen. Sorry, I just saw your comment there. You can just pause it. Because some of us, you know, like to go a little bit faster. Some of us like to go a little bit slower. But that's a great catch right there. I forgot to mention that. Thank you for bringing that up, Karen. Okay, again, my why. By using the principles of hyperdocs, you can share a vast amount of information in a small amount of space. The focus of the published Google site is to make everyone aware, just like ESPN's ticker, that information needs to get to people fast, and sometimes it gets lost in email. With a published Google slide, you can share information just like a newsreel, simple and easy way to share information to staff and students. I'll get to that in a moment, Carrie. We have a shorter attention span and quicker information is a norm. You can click on content you want, so you can be selective about what you view. And I think Karen was talking about that. You can just pause it and it doesn't keep going. It serves as a reminder of upcoming events or changes in some of the policies that we do at our school. It creates connectiveness that allows you to belong to a community. Believe it or not, I get comments from people all the time. It's like, oh, thank you very much for that newswire. It reminded me of this event, or that the girls had a volleyball game at home and I was able to stay here and watch the game. And so things like that, it allows your teachers to stay connected with what's going on at the school, because those are some things that you just miss on emails at times. Personally, I think it looks better than reading a boring email with the same information. It's a way to catch up, maybe find something you missed, since it highlights the important things you want to share with staff, students, and community. Oh, on the sharing settings, Carrie, let me go back to your question real quick. I added by groups in our domain. We can add people by groups. So we have a CMI certificated, and I just add that into my group when I'm sharing the document. And it's usually on the top right-hand side. It's a little blue button. You can change the sharing settings on any document in Google. Whether you want them to view it, to edit it, or do other things like that. Okay, so again, what's my goal? My goal in doing these newsletters and these news wires, which are hyperdocs on a Google Doc, hyperdocs on a Google slide, is that we're all in this together. I need to make sure that everybody has the same information, that we're all on the same page, because sometimes it gets a little lonely, especially with this last year where we were all at home. We wanted to have some sort of connectiveness, and as long as we know that the information is getting to everybody, you feel a little bit better. I felt a little bit, I had some reassurance that I knew my people were looking at things. And so this is giving me some reassurance that, we're trying to unite people. We're trying to make sure that they all have the same information, because at the end, they're doing their best for their students. And that's what we're here for. We're trying to do the best that we can for our students. So we got to make sure that all the information gets out there and that we work as a team. Because that's one thing I've noticed about the New Zealand All Blacks. They always work as a team. No individual is bigger than the group. The group is the most important thing, and that's what we got to focus on. So I went a little bit fast. I'm going to open up questions. If anybody has questions, you can either send it in chat, or if you want, you can ask a question on the mic. Any questions? No questions. Doesn't look like anybody has questions. Pretty straightforward, hopefully. Hopefully I didn't go too fast. Awesome. Thank you, Debbie. Okay, well, before you jet out of here, again, thank you very much for attending my session. I do appreciate it. All my resources from this presentation are there on the bit.ly rgoostech004. There's my information. There's my email. If you want to ask me questions, by all means, please reach out. There's my Twitter handle as well. Again, the more we know, the more information we share with one another, the better we're going to be at our school site. And we got to work together as cohesive groups, because we can't work as individuals. We got to work as a group in order to make schools better for our students.
Yes,
Awesome.
thank you so much, Robert. Thank you so much, everybody, for attending the final session of Google Camp. We hope you had a great time. We hope you enjoyed all of your sessions. We do look forward to hearing from you. Please make sure to go to SCED app, review your amazing presenter and your awesome moderator and let us know how we did and that you want us to return for next year. Again, round of applause, a virtual applause for Robert, and thank you again for everything.
Type up a Google survey to send to parents. So it wasn't part of my presentation, but one thing I'm working on for surveys is I'm thinking about sending QR codes in a one-page document. I'm trying to remember this guy's name right now. My mind just went blank. What's his name? He did an amazing job about 3 years ago when I saw him talk about this. He works at Beaumont. My mind just went blank and I feel so bad. But he shared that teachers should just create a one-page thing instead of this huge syllabus. And you can put different things on there. And then with his idea, I figured out that maybe you could put QR codes that belong to your Google survey, and then parents can just scan that one page you send to them, send home with the kids, and they can fill out information that you can get. So hopefully that's making sense there, Kathy.
So Robert, you have an additional 20 minutes left. If you'd like to stick around and answer any additional questions, you're more than welcome to. If not, we can end the session now.
I'll stick around for questions. I don't have a problem.
Okay, not a problem.
So the trick to that, Kathy, is that Google has made some changes that anything in the Chrome browser, you can actually create a QR code from. There's a little button you click up top. So the important thing is that you're going to have to click on View on your Google form or survey, and then there'll be a little button that you can create a QR code in the Chrome browser. But yeah, that'll probably help you out a little bit more than I can right now. Any other questions? Anybody have any other questions? No, you can do it directly from the Chrome browser, Nisa. Like if you go up to the URL address, it'll actually show you, like you click on it and there's a little button that comes up, a little pop-up, and it creates a QR code for you. But again, the most important thing, just like with the documents that I share, is that you got to make sure that your sharing settings are set up for that document so that people that you want to view it can view it. Yeah, sure. Let me see if I can do this. I wasn't prepared, but I'll see if I can do this. Give me a second here. Where is this at?